Morning, guys. Today we are solving an important problem on the GFG platform. This question is a GFG medium level question, and in this question, what we can see is we have to find the two repeated elements in a particular array. So, say for example, we will be given a particular array. You can see over here the array has 1 2 1 3 1 4 3. So these are the elements of an array, and we have to find those particular elements which are repeated twice, and we have to print them in a order of their repeatance. Say for example, in 1 2 1 3 4 3, you can see the arrays which are you can see the elements which are repeated twice. The elements which are repeated twice are 1 which is repeated 2 times and 3 which is repeated 2 times. So the array is such an array which where elements will be repeated and two elements will be only repeated, and we have to print those two elements which are repeated. So they have said this is a medium problem, but I would still consider this as a lead code easy problem. So before doing that, I will be let's analyze this particular problem. So let's uh, let's open IntelliJ and solve today's problem. So we can see the we have opened that we will have to do site present. Yeah. So today's problem is give me a second. Yeah. So when we are doing this, we have to create a new Java class. The name of the class is two repeated elements. So in this two repeated elements, we have to first import the scanner class over here because we have to take the input. So you can say, although these things are not needed, but I will do it in order to make it more easy for understanding. So import java.util dot. Now in this class, there will be there will be an int function. Say the name of the function is two repeated elements. In the parameter, we will take an array and also the length of the array. Now there comes an interesting question. It is saying the total length of the array should be greater than the total length of the array should be two more. As you can see, we have taken four, but there are six elements. The total length of the array should be two more than the initial length. So what I can write as int length equals to n plus 2. Over here length is a keyword, so we cannot write, so you can write length equals to length n plus 2. Now what we're going to do is we are going to initialize store the elements in a new array, right? So we can write this as answer array equals to new int 2. Since there is two repeated elements, the length of this array since two repeated elements, so length will be 2. Now what we're going to do is we are going to make a J which is used as a track for counter. We are going to traverse. So int I equals 0, I less than n plus 2, I plus plus. So this loop is used for traversal. We have to use a value. Now this is important, mat.abs. Now I will tell you why I'm doing this. So the logic which I am going to apply in this particular question, I can write over here as logic is whenever we encounter a repeated value, we will mark it with a negative sign. So this is so easy to understand, as since whenever we are encountering a negative value, we will put whenever we are encountering a repeated value, we will put a negative sign. So this will help us in order for the traversal of the particular array and get those elements. Suppose there is a train, and there is two compartments of first class. So the compartments can be identified with a negative marker. So we can identify them, the negative markers, and say, oh, this is the negative one, so it is repeating itself. So mat.abs is initially to take the absolute value of that particular element. Now what we are going to do is we are going to check if the value, if ARR of val is less than 0 or negative. So whenever we are encountering a negative value, we are going to increase the counter of j, which will store the value, over here like this. And in the else, if, so there will be two things, right? One thing is if we get a repeated value, which is in this else part. So what we are going to do is ARR of val equals to minus sign of ARR of val. So this basically is denoting whenever you get a marker to make sure the value is repeated. So I'm making sure that the value is repeated by giving a minus sign. And this is just to update the counter, to update answer array counter. So our program is done. Lastly, we close this for loop and we return the answer array. So yeah, this was a simple problem, but we will execute it in our main class. So public static void main, we can initialize it over here. We can write a scanner class, new scanner. This main part is optional for your understanding, but in GFG you don't require a main part. Println, say enter total number of elements, int n equals to sc dot next int. Now we are going to store an array, so we can name an array arr1 equals to new arr1. In the bracket we know that the length of the array plus 2 we have to add, so we can write it as arr1 n plus 2. Now we are going to initialize the element I equals to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, system.out.println, enter an element 1 of I equals to sc dot next int. We are initializing our elements. So there is an error. What is the error? It is saying cannot resolve symbol arr1. Okay, so new int. Okay, what we have to do next is we have to call and print our function, right? So we can write, say, result int result equals to new int 2, and since there will be 2 elements in the resultant array, we are going to fill the array while printing. So for int I equals to 0, I less than 2, semicolon I plus plus, we are going to return. So we can return over here as res of I equals to answer of I, or ob dot name of the function is 2 repeated elements in this function. We are going to pass arr1. So yeah, we can store the res value over here. We can print the array as well for the same way. In order to create an object also, 2 repeated elements ob equals to semicolon. So what we can see is we have uploaded the method and the function which is used to check the 2 repeated elements, and minus sign is the important part of this question, which is used to make sure that whether the value is repeated or not by using it as a marker. So we are going to test our solution. So the solution is working. We attempted 3 times and the accuracy is around 66%. I hope you like this video and looking forward to see you tomorrow.